Hey y'all, this is Anjali Lachey, and this is my adoption story. So, I was born in July 1979, or was I? I actually saw paperwork that had a different birth date, but I always felt like July was my right birthday. Never really asked a lot of questions. That's a whole nother story. But I'm adopted. I was born July 16th, 1979. I'm in my late 40s. And I was born Anjali Marie Gayden. My mother moved from Detroit to Kansas City to get away from a situation. She came with my 14-year-old brother, and she was running from a situation and didn't know she was pregnant. She found out she was pregnant while in Kansas City and almost went through the process and decided not to and decided to have me. She had really bad postpartum depression, and my brother came home from school one day. This is the story I was told. He came home from school one day and found me on the couch. She was gone. I was probably about 4 months old, maybe 3, 4 months old. And he called some people she had made friends with, and they called the authorities, and we went into the foster care system that day. This is what I was told. And so the foster family is the Morris family. And so Morris family had just gotten into foster care. They had 2 daughters and 3 sons, and they were doing the foster care thing. And we ended up with them in the suburbs of Shawnee, Kansas. Excuse me. And so staying with them, me and my brother were together. I heard that my brother did not get along with the other siblings. It was a confusing time for him. And then it was like, to be uprooted from our home, with him and my mom and me alone to this whole new situation with all these new players in this new city was a lot. And so they ended up separating us. He went to a different foster home and I stayed. The Morris family started to do the work to adopt me, and about 4 months later, they adopted me. They adopted me and they changed my name. So not sure why, I still haven't gotten the full story. I was told at one time that someone was looking for me. It could have been my father. I don't know a lot about him, other than he had bad skin. I had 2 people who told me he had bad skin. I guess that's something I inherited from him, all these skin problems I have. So I'm adopted by the Morris family. They legally changed my name to Kendra Lachey Morris. So I grew up thinking my name was Kendra, or I guess it was, most of my life. And then when I was 11, I think because at high school or elementary school, I was doing all these school projects, like where were you born, what hospital, what was it like, things you were doing in school, like back in the day as kids. And the family decided to sit me down and tell me. So again, I'm the baby in this adopted family. All the other siblings are older. So as this is happening, they're moving out the house and I'm becoming more and more, kind of feel like an only child, but we always had other foster kids around. And so this family, this husband and wife, they adopted me, sat me down with everybody in the house and told me that I was adopted. I always felt like I was off, always felt like I was treated different, but I just always thought because I was the youngest. My older siblings never hesitated to tell me how good I had it because they grew up having to share everything, and I grew up kind of, with less people in the house. They grew up when they lived in Kansas. I grew up most of the time when we lived in the suburbs of Shawnee, so they had a different experience than me. I get it, the sibling, this is what we do. My adopted mother always had this weird disdain towards me, and I could never understand it until, years later it would make more sense. I always felt like she hated me. I think it was because I didn't know my adoptive father at the time was, having an affair and doing all this stuff. And I was such a daddy's girl. So I think that pissed her off a lot too, because I was so close to him. We were super close. Our birthdays were like really close in time, less than a week apart. And I was just a daddy's girl. I just loved my dad so much. So I think that irritated her more, probably as she was dealing with whatever she was dealing as a wife to him. But also, she grew up where, of her siblings, she was the one sent away. So she had other brothers and sisters who grew up with their mom and dad. She was sent away to live with their grandmother. So I think I was, in a way, reliving some of the stuff that she had processed, or not processed, but been through, where, that separation where you're like, oh, okay, my family's over here, but I'm over here, kind of childhood, right? And what that looked like and felt like growing up. I feel like we had that similarity, is what I'm trying to say. So they tell me at 11 that I'm adopted. I'm in shock, complete shock, because I'm just like, wait, so these people are not my people? Like, I just started seeing them all as strangers all of a sudden. It just was really weird. It was really confusing. I would soon ask questions, and she would be irritated when I'd ask questions. And I'm like, I'm confused. You know, it was a lot that was dumped on me, and I don't understand it. And she would just act really uncomfortable. But she always gave me this feeling like she hated me. It just started to progress after I was told I was adopted. And she was just very good at being a narcissist, probably why I married a narcissist. They say you marry one of your parents. I realize that now in my alone time in Thailand, why I did the things I did, and how I ended up in these situations. But she was really good at playing mind games. So one memory, we had a farm. I grew up working my whole life. So I'm a workaholic because I grew up working. My friends would go and do after school activities, gymnastics, plays, music, whatever. I had to work. We had a farm. I had to get up in the morning and go work on the farm. Then they take me to school. Then after the farm, we go clean houses. We had a cleaning business. So I grew up work. And you don't get paid. This is the family business. You have to work. So school always kind of felt like an afterthought, but it was a filler in between all of the things I was responsible to do. And I would work as hard as I could because I thought if I worked hard and make her happy, make her boss happy, our boss happy, then she would love me. So I would always give my best, or try to give my best. Sometimes I had attitude because I was tired, but I would always just try to impress her by being an excellent worker, hoping that she would love me, because she just always made me feel like she couldn't stand me. I remember one distinct memory, we're coming from the farm early in the morning, and I was sitting in the middle between my mom and my dad, and I leaned on her because he's busy driving this truck, and I leaned on her, and she pushed back so hard I thought I was going to break my neck. And I just the hurt from that was just like, no, she really does hate me. Like, this woman really hates me. To go on, it was just more of that, more little subtle things that I couldn't articulate, and no one would believe me because they had empathy for her. She's got these jobs, she's got these kids, she's taking in other people's kids. You know, everyone's empathy for her superseded her not being the most perfect, most adored person. Like, no one would believe me if I did feel confident enough to voice anything to anyone, because she was just, a saint. You know, oh my God, you know, she has it, like, she's doing all this stuff, saints work. Like, no one would ever believe me if I said anything. And I would see that throughout my whole life, to where I felt like I was crazy from the things she would do to me. So fast forward, my father passed away when I was 14. This is my first time running away. He had lung cancer. He went into a coma. He had lung cancer. He had pneumonia. And they said they're going to keep him for a couple days until the pneumonia passes because he had cancer. And during the night, his lungs collapsed. So he went into a coma. And so we had the kind of family dynamic when no one talked to me. I just got talked. I had to figure things out by overhearing it in the house. I had to eavesdrop to find out anything that was going on. So I'm 14 when he passes, and I'm hearing her on the phone talking to the hospital. No one's talking to me. She's calling all my other brothers and sisters and everyone else. And then I talked to her in between because I'm emotional. Like, we had just went to the hospital the night before with him. So I'm just like, wait, what? My dad, what? I'm trying to process this in my 14-year-old brain. I only seen one other person die at this time, and I didn't even understand that. And so she starts yelling at me. She goes, "This is all your fault. You're the reason. This is all your fault. Get out. Get out my house. Get out my house." It wasn't get out. It was get out my house. So I'm sitting here, traumatized, trying to process the fact that we were just with him, and now they're saying he's a coma. I don't know what a coma is. You know, I don't have the words and the emotions at this time. And then she's telling me to get out my house, specifically her house this time. And so I ran away. I grabbed a coat and didn't even put socks on. I put on tennis shoes, crying, emotional. I had a t-shirt on underneath the coat, wasn't even thinking right. And I went and slept outside of the sign. We had a neighborhood sign that was like a welcome to the neighborhood. I can't remember what the sign said, but it was in front of the street of our entrance to our street. And I just laid on the ground. It was winter time. It was October. It was frigid cold. And I just remember not having any socks. And I'm just mad at myself that I didn't dress for running away. I don't know how to run away. I'm growing up in the suburbs of Shawnee. And just pray to God that I would just die, because I was just like, I don't know what to do. This woman hates me. I don't know what's going on. She kicked me out. I didn't do this. I'm confused. What do I do? So I'm like petrified and confused and just emotionally like all over the place. And so I slept outside all night. I think I was there for like 8 hours. I was there. I feel like this argument was around like 5. It was still light outside, and I slept through the night. And then like 7, 8 in the morning, I could see the police sirens through the sign. I sat behind the sign so no one could see me because they had like trees behind it. And I saw like the sirens coming down the street between the cracks of this wood "Welcome to the Neighborhood" sign. And so I was like, let me go home because I don't know what to do. I don't have any money. I don't know what to do. This is the suburbs. I don't, cell phones didn't exist. I didn't have a pager at the time. I don't want to walk to a friend's house because God forbid I involve one of my white friends' parents in whatever this is, right? There would be shame on that because we're like one of the few black people in the neighborhood. And so I just started to walk home because I didn't know what to do. And I was like, the cops are here. Like, I don't know what to do. So I walk in the house and she's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And, showing all this concern, and the officer talks to me, and then my brother comes by and everyone's like, how could you do this? Well, what's going on? How could you do this? And I'm just sitting there like, no one believes anything I say. So sure, she's so good at being a spin master where no one's gonna believe me if I tell her she said to get out of my house. Like, even if I said that, they were like, that's not what she meant. You probably misunderstood her. Like, no one believed me anytime with this woman. It was just kind of like, I had to be a problem child. And it was wild because I was doing my best not to be a problem child because of my 2 sisters. One was pregnant at 16 and had a child and went to prison before she was 18. And the other was strung out on crack, on drugs. So I am trying to be best as I can, having those 2 as my female examples to make this woman love me because her biological children have chosen this life. I'm trying to choose a better life and be a hard worker and do whatever she wants to make her happy. But I think she resented me for that too. So they always assumed I was going in that direction, I feel like, because how she spent it. She was just an amazing spin master. So my father passed away 14, and that was my first time running away. I only ran away once, but I the stuff with her intensified. She got all this money. There was money in my name. He was a military person. He was a teacher, retired teacher at Paseo High School, and she got all this money. I started seeing paper in the house with money, and I saw my name and all this stuff. I was like, oh, she's getting like $800 a month in my name. And that's when she started to tax me even more. So if we went out, I was starting to get a job. I was also helping her with these foster kids because that continued. It stopped and started again. Cleaning business kind of stopped, but the kids took on more time. And I had a job. I was working off of a semi-truck, selling food off of a truck with this old man. Why I was allowed to go do this, I do not know. Just me and this old man in this big 18-wheeler going to the projects and selling food that was about to expire from a grocery store. And I'd be with him all day. So I had a little money from that and other projects. And I think that job was before my dad died. No, it was right after Dad died. And so I had a little money. So if we would go to the store, if I, was looking at something, she would like do this game. You like that? Oh yeah. And I'm thinking I can get it. And then she was like, no, I'm not buying that. When we got to the register, like, you got money now, you have to buy it. Okay. I think she's teaching me responsibility. So I started out subtle. Then she would order food for the whole family. We'd order pizza and Chinese food all the time. And I'm making the plate, the food would get here, and I'm making the plates for everybody. And she was like, what are you doing? And she was like, no, if you're gonna eat, you're gonna pay for it. So she started making me pay to eat in the house. She also started decorating. She decorated my room. She wanted to put wallpaper up. She was like asking me about the wallpaper. And I was like, oh, okay, we're bonding. Like, she likes me today. And I picked out the wallpaper. She told me, no, you have to pay for it. So I had to pay like $119. It was just one wall. And I was just like confused. Like, she's getting all this money. I'm not getting all this money. But everything is a game. Everything is like a game and manipulation and this mind game. So I think it was because it looks like on the outside, oh, I decorated her room because other people knew she got this money. It looks like she's doing stuff for me as his last child, his daughter. But also, she really wasn't because, it was a game. It's like, oh, when company would come over, my brothers or somebody would be over, we all got to eat. And I'm asking, like, can I eat? And then my brothers and sisters are, like, laughing at me, like, what are you talking about? Like, what, girl, eat, make your plate. And laughing like I'm weird, but not knowing that I couldn't eat other times because if I didn't have the money, she wouldn't let me eat the food. So just constant mind games. It was mind games with the purse. It was always like, go get my purse. If I wasn't smiling when I handed it to her, like, this heifer got an attitude, like on the phone, this heifer got an attitude. She don't know how good she is. I tell her, bring my purse, and she stomps up here, but she would like, bring me my purse. No, bring me this. No, bring me the remote. No, bring me that. She would like do stuff to where like it would drive you nuts, and then call and tell them I got an attitude. Like, she kept fucking with me. She was really, really, really good at it. Another example was Christmas. We were out shopping for Christmas. We were at Ventures and Kmart, and I had a niece. Like I said, my sister got pregnant at a young age, so I had a niece who was 6 months younger than me. We didn't grow up like sisters, but we kind of were around each other. But she's more of a tomboy. I was a girly girl, and so she would always just look at how my niece had this great life and, gifts, and was just like, poured into her education. I remember my mom giving her money when she got good grades, and I was like, I get good grades, but I'm trying to sleep in between like all the work I have to do. Like, I can't, I felt like I was competing to be like my niece, loved by my mom basically. I don't know what she wanted, but I just wanted her to love me like she loved my niece and everyone else in the family. And so it was Christmas. We were at Kmart. Kmart and Ventures. Those are stores in Kansas City, shopping. And she was like asking what I want. I'm like, oh my God, like she loves me. I remember getting all like warm and fuzzy, like, oh my God, she loves me today. And so I would, say, oh, I want this and I want that. Oh, okay, put it in the basket. Oh, okay, put it in the basket. And she was like letting me get so many things that I said I wanted. And I was just like, wow, and we're grabbing stuff for a bunch of other people and stuff too. And I was the rapper in the family. Again, I loved to serve. I was trained to serve. I was a family babysitter. I fixed appliances. I was bounced from house to house to clean. I was a family servant. My whole childhood, I was passed around to serve everyone in the family. That's why I still have this servant heart, and I'm trying to stop, but I was groomed for that. So anyway, we're sitting there, and I loved wrapping the presents and stuff because it made her happy. She didn't like to do it, and I would just wrap it to my best of my ability. I wrapped all the presents, the stuff that I thought was mine, and now I was like, whose name am I putting on this? Oh, leave the name off. I'm like, okay, being all in my feelings and getting all excited because I feel like I'm wrapping my present, but I'm cheesing probably from ear to ear as I wrap it. Christmas comes, and they put the presents in front of everybody, and I have like a few presents, and I see all the stuff that I wrapped go to my niece. And so my niece is confused because she's getting stuff that's like not her at all. And then people see me looking confused. Family sees me looking confused. They're like, what, you not grateful? You ungrateful? You don't know how good you got it? And I'm sitting here like crying because I'm like, what kind of fuckery is this? Like, why do you keep fucking with me so much? And it would just hurt my heart because my niece is like, thank you, Grandma. Like, to stuff that like, they ain't even her vibe. It was my vibe. And I'm just sitting here like, just mad that she fucked me up in my head again, and I don't know how to articulate it. No one's gonna believe me if I said it, and how she just got me so good, and I just fell for it. I thought she loved me again. And so this was my childhood with her. When I was 18, she asked me to move out. It was just the calmest conversation we ever had. I'll never forget how calm it was. I was like, you should move out. And I was like, okay. She goes, you can take the furniture in your room. And I was like, okay, not knowing anything, what to do, anything. And so I just followed the steps. I'm asking friends, I'm asking people, how do you move? Like, how do you do this stuff? Figuring it out. And the post office, was like, oh, go to the post office, get a name. You had to go to the post office and fill it out back in the day to do an address form. And I did it even though I wasn't really getting any mail. I just was following the steps. I don't know what I got for a guide, but probably a piece of paper somewhere that told me this is how you move. And so that, not knowing that the post office thing would be the thing that changed everything, I got a roommate situation. I was renting a room for this girl, and I started getting checks in the mail. And so again, I had a job. At this time I was working in the movie theater. She was doing the adopted, working with the kids, the foster kids. We had a child with HIV, Down syndrome, everything, like every walk of life I've been around and had to help take care of. We had this child who was 21 and I was like 16 when we got her, and I had to carry her up and down the stairs. She was nonverbal. We had to feed her through the tube. I had to change her diaper. I had to bathe her, put her in the tub. Like, it was a lot of labor with her. She was wheelchair bound. The wheelchair was heavy. Taking up and down the stairs, I had to work. And so, but that was the business. That was a family business at the time. And so, I also got a job after school, and I was working at the movie theater, so I was less available. She had another relative helping. That relative, I even had to babysit sometimes because that person was not fit for the job. We'll just say that. And so I move out, and I'm following her instructions. I moved out. She probably didn't think I could, and to this day, no drugs, no pregnancy, still a virgin, had done none of the stuff. Had gone completely opposite of the path of my sisters. Was involved. I was in a private school. So one of the wishes my dad had when he died was that I would go to a private school. I was involved in the church. I was singing in the choir. I was trying to be loved by this woman. Like, I just wanted to be loved by her. I don't know how many times to say that. So I just wanted to be the opposite of what I saw, my sisters doing. And so I move out, and I started getting my mail, and one of it is the checks for me being an employee for taking care of these children. And I realized sometimes she would have me sign stuff, and then sometimes she wouldn't let me talk about it. She wouldn't say anything about it. And then I realized she was putting stuff in my name. She was adjusting the hours and saying I was doing all the stuff that I wasn't doing because I was at school or at my other job. So I was just like, okay. And I called her and I was like, I got a $2,500 check. Yeah, she was freaking out because I guess she didn't think I was smart enough to do a mail forwarding, because now her money was coming to my new place, but it had my name on it. And I didn't know checks were coming to the house in my name. And so, yeah, it is what it is. I'm not going to say it on camera, but you know what it is. It was so confusing because I'm like, no one's going to believe me once again. And now I'm doing taxes for the first time. I had gone with her to do taxes, watched her do all the stuff. Now I did taxes maybe 2 years because I think I started doing taxes when I was 16, to do taxes when I was 16, so I had kind of been familiar. And then now I'm getting this thing that I owe all this money in taxes because it looks like I made like $50,000. And I was like, I didn't make this money. This is not my money. I did not get this money. I did not work these hours. I did not get this money. This is not even my signature. I even reached out to the company we worked for and asked them for copies of stuff, and I was just like, that's not my signature. Like, I had a whole thing, and they're like, is there anything we'd be alarmed about? I'm like, no, because I don't want to get her in trouble, because again, no one would believe me. She's always right. She's always the saint. She's the perfect one. No one believed that this is not my signature, even though I have proof. No one believed that this is going on. And even if they do, it's like, well, she probably just did it. Like, everyone just glossed it over. Same thing with my marriage. Anytime I vented about this narcissistic husband and things he did, people are like, the same scenario as this woman. And so I had to deal with her. I remember trembling because I went to the tax lady, on my own. And she was just like, the tax lady, who was a family tax lady, was like, you need to get a lawyer. And she said it so stoically. Like, literally, we had sit in this woman's house doing taxes umpteen times, and now this person is telling me you need to get a lawyer. And it scared me because she knows more than I know about this, but she's watched me grow up, but also she's looking at this paperwork and she knows this. So now I'm scared because I don't want to get her in trouble, and I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know this. I'm 18. And so I reached out to her, and she was just calm about it. I just started getting sending the checks to her, and then she stopped. I would just drop them off at the house, and then she stopped doing it. And then the money, she started paying me off slowly. I was just like, I think I wrote her a letter because I was so petrified to come to her to say this, but also I was scared because this is stuff I don't know. And I'm like, am I going to go to prison? Like, I don't know. Like, I didn't do any of this stuff. I don't have this money that the IRS is asking me for. I'm pretty positive I wrote her a letter. And she was just like, yeah, I'll just write you a check. And she just started paying it and paying me in a check in the mail because I didn't want to go over there until we paid it off. So I realized that as I sit here in Thailand, I've been here in a year, in not even 6 months yet, but I had to sit with how I married a spouse who played all these mind games. No one believed me when I would talk about him. No one believed me when I would explain our arguments to them. No one believed me that this man was not the most wholesome, most sweetest, whatever, because he showered me with gifts and just was like, oh my God, I love my wife, every time they met him. And just every photo we took, he did the same pose, staring at me and smiling. But no one believed in any of the stuff I said behind closed doors because he know how to work the system. And you can see this in other videos. He lied. We were supposed to get married at JFK Airport. The airport gave us the airport Terminal 5 to get married in, and I canceled it because he lied and didn't tell me he had children, and the children were going to come in and sabotage the wedding. He lied about everything. He lied about a lot of stuff. And then, it ended because I moved to Thailand because I found out he was sexting his aunt. He told me it was my fault. I was the reason why he did it, things like that. And then my adopted mother would tell me stuff, you know, like out the blue after we got adopted. She goes, I remember we pulled into Price Chopper, which is a grocery store not even a mile away from the house. I was having a good day. I was giddy and happy. We were like 4 stops from the door. I even remember the parking spot we were in because I just stared out the window like in shock from what she said. And she just said, you know, you're lucky we adopted you because no one else could ever want you. She just said it plainly out the effing blue. You're lucky we adopted you because no one else could ever want you. And that was within a year of me finding out I was adopted. And I'm just sitting there petrified. I'm just like crying. This woman was so good, just like the man I married, so good that people just saw the beauty in what they did or in the aura that they can't believe anything bad. They just think I had to be crazy. But now I realize how I ended up in this relationship. This alone time, this quiet time, and this stillness has really helped me to step back and see and analyze myself. Like, where did I go wrong? How did I put myself in this situation? And literally when my husband said to me after I saw the nude video of his aunt massaging her breasts and fingering herself in the shower after the day before he asked me to buy her a shower head, after I'd seen that and I'm sitting here like, what is going on? He literally said, you're the reason why I did it. You'll never find anyone better than me. And he said, what else? You're the reason why I did it. You'll never find anyone better than me. And this is your fault. You're the reason I did it. Wait, there was 3. I can't remember the third one. But in that moment when it happened to me and I'm sitting here, my heart is beating out my chest, like my head is hurting. I'm seeing red. I see how people end up on Snap. All I heard was my mother, my adopted mother, and the way she talked to me. When he said that, he looked different to me. And this is after being married to this man almost 7 years at this point. I finally saw who he was. When he said it this time and literally blaming me that he's been having this sexual back and forth with his aunt who looks like me. I look identical to her, like even naked. When I saw her naked video, I thought I was looking at myself, look like her. And never heard about this woman that she popped up like 6 months before all this happened. And then seeing the synergy in the look and the tone, the evilness, the narcissism. Like I really, in that moment, I woke up. Like my 40-something years at this point on the planet, that was a moment that made me really wake up and see like how I'm repeating myself. This is a reflection of something I've been dealing with since my childhood. I saw he is the person I ran away from and thought was a nightmare mother. I married her at that moment. There's no way you're gonna tell me it's my fault. You're having a sexual relationship, incest with your mother's baby sister, your own family. There's no way that can be my fault when I know what I've done for you as a wife and how much I've done as a wife, but also it's incest. How is incest my fault? So it had to happen for me to break the cycle. It had to happen for me to wake up. It had to happen for me to see like what was wrong with me. Sorry, I got heartburn. Whew. What was wrong with me? How did I end up here? It had to happen in the most painful way for me to change. It had to happen in a way for me to decide I need to leave the country because all of this is crazy. I'm looking at something that just doesn't make any sense to me in this world, in my memories, in my history of life. I need to walk away from all of this. And I had either walk away, or walk away and fly to another country. So I chose the latter because I was like, I gotta pull myself through this. I had a little bit of hope because that stuff was hard. It hit hard. It was crazy. It was ugly. It was complicated. But it had to happen for me to be shaken up upside down so severely to realize how I was the problem and how I put myself in this situation, how I attracted more of what I was used to, and then sat back and just felt like no one can hear me. Like I still fought with like, why won't people believe me? Why won't people hear me? And I think that was ingrained in me from not being heard as a child, not being seen and as who I was, but how I was being, you know, this way she painted me to be drove me nuts. I was like, I am not, like, how am I, y'all yelling at me when my other sister's drug out on drugs and the other one got a baby and just got out of prison? Like, how are y'all treating me? Like, I didn't do any of that. I don't do this, I don't do that. Why are y'all like, and she was just so good. She was such a good spin master, and so was he. he was just like, oh yeah, it's so hard doing this restaurant. Oh yeah, we're gonna open a couple chains. I'm like, we are? Oh yeah, we're gonna do. I'm like, why do you just keep lying? It drove me nuts how much he lied to people. He lied and lied and lied and lied. And I'm sitting there, I cannot fix my face. I'm an animated person. I was like, man, you are lying. We did not do that. That's not how you became owner of the restaurant. You lied about that to some PR people. It made me so mad. I'm like, sir, this is the press. And they're like, how did you become the owner? You gave a whole make-believe story to the press. I was livid. I was like, dude, why lie? Why lie so much? Why lie that you don't have children for a year and a half while courting me, only to tell me after you about to sign the marriage certificate that you have 3 children? Who does that at a very public wedding? So I realized in this alone time who I am, why I did it, and how to stop the cycle, and then how to like heal from it. I don't get emotional and cry anymore when I talk about it. I'm just like, yeah, that happened to me. That's my story. That's my movie. Netflix, call me. I don't feel it the same way like I used to before. I don't like hover and cry and feel all this pain and bowling balls in my gut. I just was like, yeah, that's my story. And people like, oh, healing begins when you stop talking about it. I'm like, I don't believe that, because the more I talk about it, the more people tell me about their process and their healing and stuff they did. I've heard from the victim and the victimizer in my inbox message. So I'm going to keep talking about the things that have happened in my life. And it's not like I need a hug or I need to cry. Maybe I might cry one day because something hits me at a random day, but I'm not there anymore. I'm healed. But also, I want to share my story because it happened. I want to help someone who's in it. I cannot tell you how many people have inboxed me how they're in it still. I've heard the most painful, horrific things in my inbox messages from people who are still in stuff that I've surpassed. So I do it for that, not for the people who are like, oh, because you want to talk about it, you'll never be healed. I don't believe that. I feel like everyone has a story to tell. Either you buried under the bushes, under the rug, or you live out loud and show your war wounds. And this is me showing my war wounds. So I am Anjali Lachey. Please subscribe. I'm going to share more stories about my life. I got a lot of crazy stories. My adoption stories, there's so much more to that. Airline life, married to a narcissist who just bamboozled me and everyone around me. And then Eat, Pray, Love. I'm on the Eat, Pray, Love side, moving to Thailand. So it's the Antoine Fisher story. If you watch movies, my life is the Antoine Fisher story. It is baggage claim, my whole wild fun times in the airline industry. It is coming to America, falling for an African in New York City who worked in the restaurant. All of that coming to America. And then now I'm on the Eat, Pray, Love phase. So that is my story. Subscribe to learn more. I have so much more to tell. Again, my name is Anjali Lachey. Thank you for watching this far. Subscribe for more. Bye.